Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, it's another absolutely gorgeous day, or shaping up to be another absolutely gorgeous day. We did beat sunrise today. The sun is just starting to creep up above the trees, so the video should get a little bit brighter as time goes on. And this DJI does an amazing job in low light. Anyways, there's something else. I have a community post. I received a notice from YouTube, and it's happened before. And it's about my sources. So I list like 10, 15, 20 sources sometimes in the description of the video. And I'm assuming that YouTube does not like that. So moving forward, what I'm going to do here and just try this out, see if it works, is instead of having like 15 links in a video description, I'm just going to have one. And all of my links will be in just one link over on my GitHub. I'm hoping that'll appease the YouTube gods and everything is a-okay. So if you are interested in learning more about anything we're talking about, link will be in the description or pinned comment below. I haven't decided yet because I don't hide my sources. And speaking about learning more about stuff, first up on the docket here, we're talking about the Pioneer LaserActive and the Mega LD. And we talked about this one just the other week, but if you're interested in learning more about the entire thing, there is a brand new read-only memo post that I would recommend checking out. And it's titled, "This is the First, the 16-year odyssey of time, money, wrong turns, and frustration it took to finally emulate the Pioneer LaserActive." So for those interested in the story behind the emulator and how it was created, I would recommend checking out the article. It's a very long read, but a very informative and very interesting read. It's well written in my opinion. And for those interested in the emulator itself, it's a part of Ares version 146. In my opinion, emulation development is fascinating, and it's crazy how much work some of these developers put into these emulators and to get them up and running, and not just up and running, but refined so that they're running very well. And speaking about refined and up and running, next up here we're talking about Tim Sweeney and Unreal Engine 5. And you've probably heard about this one, maybe you haven't, but Tim Sweeney has made a bit of a hot take, a bit of a not hot take, about Unreal Engine 5 and developers and optimization. So there's an article over on PC Gamer, and there's articles all over the place. But I guess Tim Sweeney says the primary reason Unreal Engine 5 based games don't run smoothly on certain PCs or GPUs is the development process. And that he's saying that developers need to aim low first and then target higher tier hardware later on, as opposed to the opposite. Now, in my opinion here, I think Tim Sweeney, no matter what you asked him about Unreal Engine 5, he's going to spin Unreal Engine 5 in a positive light and defend it. Some people are saying he's blaming developers and saying Unreal Engine 5 is absolutely fine. And I would not necessarily fully disagree with that, but I wouldn't fully agree with that. I think it's a little of A and a little of B. I mean, when you think about it, in a world of AAA games that are seemingly rushed out and then patched later on for performance and optimization, it just seems that a lot of those games could take a little bit more time to cook and be optimized in general. But at the same time, it's very interesting. A lot of these are using Unreal Engine 5. So in terms of poor optimization, I would say part of it is on the developers, but part of it may also be on Unreal Engine 5. Let me know your thoughts about that one in the comments below. Now, before we get into the next segment, just take a quick peek here at this sunrise. The morning is beautiful. We're almost getting to the temperature where we end up getting smoke on the water. We don't have that just yet. Maybe a little tiny bit. Just in a couple of weeks when the temperature really starts to cool down, it'll be real nice smoke on the water in the morning. And we can see the sun right up there just peeking over the tree line and starting to illuminate the tops of the trees. Honestly, absolutely beautiful morning. The air is nice and fresh and crisp, and the birds are chirping. I don't see any right now, but maybe we'll spot a fluff, maybe we won't. But moving on here, next up we're talking about a very interesting emulator that you may not be familiar with. It's called Fujison. And it's a cross-platform Atari 8-bit emulator based on the Atari 800, and Fujison just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, Fujison version 1.0.2 is the latest update. And as for what's changed here, there's a bunch of bug fixes and some improvements, including improved cross-platform build consistency. Next up, we're talking about Battlefield 6, and there's something headed to Battlefield 6 that some people are excited about, some people are not excited about. And some people are excited about, but not excited about Battlefield's choices in the matter. And that is a Battle Royale mode. So it does seem that there is going to be a Battle Royale mode. There is some gameplay that's been showcased on Twitter. And interestingly, there are going to be loadouts, and I think loadouts are some of the hot topic there. If you are a fan of Battlefield 6, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts about the Battle Royale mode and the loadouts and all of that. And speaking about stuff on Twitter, next up here, we're talking about TWEWY, where TWEWY stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or The World Ends With You. And if you're familiar with this game on the Nintendo DS and familiar with it on Android and iOS, specifically I guess it's just TWEWY Solo, or Solo Remix. Anyways, here, it appears that TWEWY, so weird to say TWEWY Solo Remix has been unofficially ported to PC. So for those who may be unaware, and if I'm wrong with this one, let me know in the comments below, but The World Ends With You was originally released for the Nintendo DS as an action RPG. It was later on ported to Android and iOS and received better graphics and some more enhancements. And a lot of people seemingly like the Android and iOS port of the game. Now there is a tweet with more information on the matter if you're interested in learning more about the port. And speaking about mysterious and interesting stuff, next up we're talking about Nvidia. And this is up over on TechCrunch. Nvidia says 2 mystery customers accounted for 39% of Q2 revenue. That is insane. If those 2 people weren't around, the revenue would drop by 39%. That is a large number for just 2 mystery customers, customer A and customer B. Unfortunately, I don't know the name of customer A or customer B, but I do know that I'm pointing you in the wrong direction. The better view is behind me right there. Anyways, here, I guess customer A accounted for 23% of Nvidia sales for the quarter, and customer B accounted for 16% of Q2's revenue. That is absolutely wild in my opinion. And if that wasn't wild enough, check this out. 4 other customers accounted for 14%, 11%, 11%, and 10% of Q2 revenue. And these are all direct customers, like original equipment manufacturers, system integrators, or distributors. In my opinion here, this might be a hot take, but I don't think so. I mean, if you've got most of your profits tied up to a couple of customers, those customers would be incredibly important, and you would also listen to what they have to say about your product. I think that is super risky overall. In fact, the article talks about that as well. They say concentration of revenue among such a small group of customers does present a significant risk. However, that these customers have bountiful cash on hand, generate massive amounts of free cash flow, and are expected to spend lavishly on data centers over the next couple of years. So it seems as if these customers have a mutually beneficial agreement with Nvidia. Could be wrong with that one. Either way here, I think that is very interesting and paints a very interesting picture overall. Let me know your thoughts about that one in the comments below. And speaking about Nvidia, next up here, we're talking about one of Nvidia's biggest customers, and that's AMD. And also, not necessarily AMD directly, but maybe a customer of AMD. Let's put it that way. Anyways here, Zotac has unveiled the Zone Pro, and it's going to feature the AMD Ryzen HX 370, a 7-inch OLED screen, 32 gigs of RAM, and Manjaro Linux. If you are interested in learning more about the handheld, video cards has you covered. But just taking a look here, I mean, versus the Zotac Zone Pro, in my opinion, is going to be pretty darn powerful. The Zone features a Ryzen 7 8840U versus the AI9 HX 370. The RAM goes from 16 gigs to 32. I mean, this is a really, really powerful handheld, and I'm curious to know what the price is going to be. I'm assuming that the Zotac Zone Pro is not going to be cheap. So unfortunately, while I don't have a price, I do have a release date, or a release window rather. And they say it's going to release in October 2025, so right around the corner. And also check out the sunrise here. You can kind of see it above me there. The sun is coming up and things look absolutely gorgeous this morning. I'm going to stop talking about the weather and the beauty of the outdoors here and just keep talking news for you. And speaking about hardware, next up we're talking about ASRock, and I'm going to flip the camera over while I'm talking so you can see this beautiful scenery as we go over the news. So ASRock they've unveiled a brand new motherboard here with 25 USB ports. This is crazy. It's $229. If you're a fan of USB ports, if you've got a ton of USB devices, this might be up your alley. I'm immediately interested in something like this. So this one is called the ASRock X870 Live Mixer Wi-Fi. It's an AM5 motherboard. On the back panel of it, there's 16 USB ports, 3 Type-C and 13 Type-A. Of the Type-C ports, 2 conform to USB 4, and the third one is USB 3.2 Gen 1 speeds. Now, from my understanding, there's plenty of USB headers to power all of these USB ports, so power delivery will not be an issue. Very curious to see how this one rolls out and how it's received. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. And continuing to talk about hardware, next up we're talking about Samsung. And Samsung has generated quite a bit of chatter, and not necessarily for the product itself, but for the marketing of the product. Anyways, it's a brand new monitor, and it's the world's first 37-inch Viewfinity S8 monitor. And their marketing here is 5 inches can change everyday life. So based on my understanding here, these 37-inch 4K displays that Samsung has unveiled here, one of them has a refresh rate of 165 Hertz. I don't know the refresh rate of the other one. These were unveiled during Gamescom. Next up, we're talking about PlayStation 2 emulation with Iris. And Iris here just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, Iris version 0.14 Alpha is the latest update. And they say right at the beginning of this update, buckle up for a big release. We've finally implemented the IPU, which is the hardware component that allows the PlayStation 2 to play full motion videos, or FMVs for short, or something else for short. I can't quite put my finger on it. This in turn fixed a big batch of games that were hanging on FMV playback and opens the door for DVD playback emulation in the future. On top of that, there's been even more changes here and bug fixes, and Iris is making improvements in leaps and bounds. If you're interested and wanted to learn more about it, again, like everything we talk about, links will be in the link in the description or comment below. And speaking about PlayStation emulation, but going back one generation and talking about the PlayStation 1. And next up here, we're talking about Nostlan, which is an emulation front end and launcher. And anyways, Nostlan just released version 3.2. This one's getting a lot of updates recently. And the latest change here with version 3.2 introduces PS1 support. In terms of emulation front ends and launchers, Nostlan is still pretty fresh to the scene, and they've been increasing in popularity. This one is mainly a paid front end, not necessarily free. There is a trial available, but the full featured one is paid, similar to Launchbox. And last up here, we're talking about Cave Story. And if you're a fan of the Sega Mega Drive, you might be a fan of Cave Story on the Sega Mega Drive, unofficially. There is an unofficial fan port of Cave Story to the Mega Drive, and version 0.8.7 just dropped. Now, from my understanding, the game is pretty much fully playable beginning to end without any major issues or hiccups, but this latest release brings some further refinements, including some fairly significant slowdown reduction. So if you're interested in Cave Story on the Mega Drive, this one may be worth checking out and learning more about. And last up here, I do have a fluff for you. Now on this channel, we look for fluffs big and small, and this is one of the smallest fluffs. But it is very fluffy. Now, I'm not necessarily sure what this one is going to turn into, whether it's going to be a moth or a butterfly, but it is extremely fluffy. So here it is in all of its fluff. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. And there's a very angry bird back there. Where's that, a chipmunk or that's a bird. Anyways, we talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.